Zombieland. 10 years wait. Was it worth the wait? Zombieland 2 has dropped this weekend, and once again we are introduced to the world of zombies. Columbus and his survival rules, played by Jesse Eisenberg, Woody Harrelson and his Tallahassee cowboy ways, and the sassy sisters Little Rock and Wichita, played by Abigail, Breslin and Emma Stone. The gang is back, driving around, moving around, looking for a home, shooting zombies, and arguing in that quirky and yet adorable way. So what went wrong? First off, I'm not saying this movie is bad. Not in any respect. It has all the elements of the very first movie. All the characters are exactly the way you remember them. Of course, a bit older. But unfortunately, this film suffers from something which can only happen within a 10-year gap. Lack of originality. Lack of realism. Now, I know, it's a comedy zombie movie. It's not meant to be real. But it still has to have moments where you can imagine it's possible, which this film seems to lack. The first Zombieland was very close to what a person would do in reality when it came to zombies, based on Columbus's rules. This time around, not so much. It felt more like a cartoon, more like the actors were aware that it was a comedy and acted as such, which is always a problem when a movie believes its own hype, gets caught in its own wave of nostalgia, and instead of people existing within a world where comedic things happen, they act like they're in a comedy. The same thing happened with Ghostbusters 2016. Instead of acting like four characters in a world where there's ghosts and comedic things happening, they acted like they were in a comedy the whole time, trying to outdo each other with jokes and quirky moments. This Zombieland 2 felt artificial, felt Disney, felt more like an SNL sketch. And don't get me wrong, there are plenty of laughs with some additional characters that make it quite funny. But 10 years has been far too long. And since then, there has been too much content in respect of zombies, The Walking Dead, and all the various movies that have come out since. Which means you have to push the boat out further in respect of keeping the original feel to your series. Avoiding, in any respect, mentioning other TV shows and movies. Now, I won't give away any spoilers, but there's a moment within this where their self-awareness of their world as a comedy becomes very apparent. I must say, if you have a lighter sense of humour than me, and you aren't expecting too much, you might enjoy this movie. It's a good movie to watch before Halloween. It'll play on nostalgia and put you in a good mood. However, it has fallen victim to its own, idea that it's funny. This time around, it lacked the seriousness, the moments which made the original so heartbreaking and yet funny at the same time. I miss the idea of being afraid of the zombies. This time around, there's nothing to be afraid of because the characters aren't acting afraid of anything. And when they do, it's not earned. It's just this comedic moment of we're going to survive no matter what because we're the lead cast, which is not a good place to be in when it comes to creating a zombie movie where you want your audience to be scared. I want to be afraid of my zombies. I want to fear zombies, even in a comedy movie. Is that so much to ask? This movie is good, but it lacks flavour. It lacks realism. And I don't mean hyper-realism where everyone's crying and arms are getting pulled off and there's blood everywhere. I mean realism to the point where they don't act like they're in a comedy. You know? It happens to some movies like this that have waited too long to be released. They start believing their own hype. They start thinking they're funnier than they are, so they act funny the whole time, instead of just being the characters and following the storyline laid out in front of them. Overall, the story for the film was okay. It had a very light, liberal ending, which was okay, I guess, but unfortunately unrelatable if you're not from America or live on a college campus. I know that might not make any sense to most people, but it felt like a college campus the whole time. It felt like whoever was writing this script was still in college. And the story, and any form of story that existed between any characters, lacked. And that's my review, guys. I won't give any spoilers away today, because there is some good moments in this movie, and I did enjoy it overall, but would I watch it again? No, I wouldn't. Would I watch the first one again? Yes, I would. So, I think it's just a case this movie has suffered from the amount of time between now, the first zombie movie, and so I think this movie has just suffered from waiting too long. That's it. It should have been released 2 or 3 years after the first movie, when the hype was still there, when originality was still there. But that's it, guys. Please subscribe, but that's it, guys. Please subscribe and comment if you wish. And please let me know what you thought of Zombieland 2. Have a good day, guys, and I'll see you soon.